Yeah, thank you for that.
Happens.
I wish we had someone in here today who knew about NBA basketball.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Welcome to Highly Questionable. I'm Dan Levitar. This is my father, Poppy. That's Amin El Hassan. What do you like on the show today, Amin?
Oh, apologizing for getting swept.
Dale, Papi.
Is Russell Westbrook right not to be worried?
Okay, you can ask Russell Westbrook questions for the rest of time, asking him, hey, can you give me something? Can you give me something? The very last thing that Russell Westbrook will give you is his vulnerability. So this is what he has to say now that they're down 0-2.
I got to play better. And tonight, the loss, I'm going to take full responsibility of tonight because the way I played was unacceptable, and I'm going to be better. So I'm not worried one bit. My job is to make sure I continue to come out and, will and lead our guys and make sure we have a chance to win the game.
Russell Westbrook, by volume, is one of the worst long-distance shooters that we have ever seen in the sport. He's playing against Damian Lillard, who was going crazy yesterday as if he wants his star turn to be right now as he knocks out Westbrook and Paul George. And Paul George clearly isn't right physically. That said, we'll probably come back and talk about this Game 5 tied 2-2.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this because if you look at Oklahoma City, this was a team during the regular season, one of the worst free throw shooting teams. 28th, I believe, in the league. One of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league. Bottom 10 in that regard. And you look at them in the playoffs now, they're the worst three-point shooting team. Paul George, who was their best player during the year, shooting about 27% from three. Russell Westbrook, 10% from three, ladies and gentlemen. And the problem is, it doesn't deter them from keep shooting them. They're not good at it, yet they keep doing it. And that's what the playoffs is really about, Dan. It's about execution. Oklahoma City is not an execution team. And so when you have one of your best players, Russell Westbrook, get lulled into a match of some sort, you can fill in the blank there, with Damian Lillard, he is fighting a battle at which he is woefully inept at fighting. Damian Lillard is a great shooter, so of course he wants to trade off shooting threes up and down the court.
The match he was talking about involves urination.
Yes.
I think that they're missing Melo. Because if they had Melo, they could say he's been terrible.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
they
Melo.
should do that.
That's
And I think Paul George, and they should have him in street clothes and do nothing else other than sit off to the side of those press conferences so they can blame him.
Who had the more important game last night, Kyle Lue or Kawhi?
Cool.
Okay, Kawhi is what he meant to say. Kyle Lowry, of course, is as bad a postseason player as we have seen. When you just look at what he is during the regular season, and then you see 0 points in Game 1. Tim Legler was talking on the radio today how sometimes if you're Kyle Lowry, you just have to fake confidence at every turn and keep taking shots because some of them are going to end up going in. And last night he got a reprieve. But I mean, I don't know how anybody can trust him on the road given what his failures have been the last few years.
Yeah, Dan, it's one thing to not play well, not shoot well. It's another thing to look unaggressive out there, look very passive. And that's the big thing in Game 1. Kyle Lowry was extremely passive. How passive, you say? He took 7 shots, 6 of them were three-pointers. So he took 1 shot in the paint. He didn't take it till the third quarter. They ran only about 8 picks for him last night. That's according to our good friends at Second Spectrum. And so when you compare and contrast Game 1 to Game 2, you see that they ran 20 picks for him. He took 13 shots, 6 of 8 in the paint. He was aggressive. It's not so much that he made shots, although that helps as well. It's that he actually looked like he wanted to take them.
He scored more than 0?
Yes.
Kyle. 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 Kyle.
Awkward end to the segment.
Yes.
Did Jamal Murray save the Nuggets season?
Nobody believes in the Nuggets, okay? And you know now why. Because that first game that they played, they did what you expected the Nuggets to do. And then they're down 19 last night because Jamal Murray has missed his first 8 shots. And what does he do to correct it? He makes his next 8 shots, some of them totally ridiculous. Yes, I mean, this guy can't keep doing this, but he did it this one night, and they needed it to save their season.
Yeah, Dan, they were not good shots at all. They were terrible shots. And even though he didn't make any in the first first half, and he made a whole bunch in the fourth quarter. The shots he took in the fourth quarter were, by the numbers, worst quality shots. It's amazing. But not enough credit is going to Gary Harris because he kept this ship afloat in the first half, and particularly in the third quarter when the Nuggets started to make their comeback.
Come on, man. Jamal Murray, he made the ones that he had to make when
That's
he had
right.
to make
That's
them.
right.
He's a
I mean,
closer.
yes, he would
That's
close
what they
that
need,
game.
a closer.
I mean, with his shot charts and telling you they're bad shots, when they go in, they're not bad shots.
Yeah, not bad shots. Yeah, just good shots. You're a nerd.
I mean, really.
Should the Lakers worry that hiring Ty Lue will give LeBron too much control?
Seems a little late to start the worrying on that front. We've been watching like for 12 years, and you give him a lot of control and you have a lot of success, and then at the very end it gets contaminated. Not like at the beginning. But Ty Lue should be an administrative assistant to the only valuable piece the Lakers still have. You can make fun of him all you want. Him not making the playoffs this year got more coverage than anyone else making the playoffs this year. He is the center of that Lakers economy. You do whatever you can over the next 3 years to please him because you have tied yourself to whether it's an anchor or a kite. You have tied yourself to this experiment. You give this dude everything he wants.
Yeah, you don't sign LeBron James for him to sit quietly in the corner. You sign LeBron James because you are signing up for the LeBron James experience. But Dan, I got to take umbrage for you calling Ty Lue an administrative assistant. I think one of the things that he brings to the table that a lot of other coaches don't is a level of mutual respect between him and LeBron. Meaning what? When I talked to David Griffin, my former boss, who was also formerly the Cavs GM, he said the one thing that Ty Lue had was he could call LeBron out on his BS and let him know, hey man, you're full of it right now. You got to come over to this side. And part of being LeBron's head coach means you got to be able to push back and you got to be able to handle the pushback that'll come from him. And Ty Lue does both of those things very well.
Well, you say that he does them well, but the pushback from him was at least in part why Ty Lue stepped away from Cleveland altogether, because he was dealing with issues of the pressure of the job on top of whatever else he was dealing with. LeBron James will ravage you if you're a man in charge, especially if you're telling him things that he does not want to hear.
I never said it was easy or healthy for you.
Well, I know a coach that will stand up to LeBron.
Who's that?
LeVar Ball.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's right.
How
that's
is that
right,
a good
that's-
point?
I mean,
LeVar?
he would stand up to LeBron. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, he would just stand up and then he would fall down and stand back up.
And let him know he's better than him.
Could you see David Griffin convincing the unibrow to stay in New Orleans?
Okay, you may have heard in the previous segment, if you were with us, Amin name dropped David Griffin and gave you some information that he has worked with the man and admires him. So maybe this is his account right here. I mean, David Griffin, is he possibly the guy who keeps Anthony Davis there?
My initial reaction is no, but if there were anyone on this planet who could talk Anthony Davis into staying, it's David Griffin, for a couple of reasons. You got to think about one, Anthony Davis wants to leave because New Orleans didn't have much of a direction, much of a vision. That's changed. That's all Griff is a guy who brings direction and vision to an organization. Number two, when you look at this roster, he can make things happen with it. You ask me how. They didn't have cap space in 2014 when the Cavs learned that LeBron James might be interested. David Griffin made that happen overnight. And then when that roster wasn't good enough, he went out and got Iman Shumpert and J.R. Smith. And then the year after that, when that roster wasn't good enough, he went out and got Kyle Korver and Channing Frye. And so he has a history of making deals to rapidly improve his team. But most importantly, he's got a relationship with the agent for Anthony Davis, Rich Paul, for having worked with him for years, obviously dealing with LeBron.
Okay, that's something that just happened on the Worldwide Leader in Sports, 4:30 Eastern on ESPN. Amin Elhassan said he had all the world to choose from on where Anthony Davis would play next year. And if he was trying to talk him into it, David Griffin is the person he put at the top of the list to keep Anthony Davis there. Except here's the problem. Anthony Davis has made it pretty clear and messy that he doesn't want to be there. He spent all of last season, instead of playing, telling us again and again that that's not where he wants to be. There are too many links here between the Rich Pauls and the Anthony Davises and the Lakers. This is already far gone, and it's a foregone conclusion. He ain't going back there. There is no circumstance.
David Griffin, he hired you?
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust him.
I wouldn't trust him either, right? I wouldn't.
You guys hired me.
Freelance. Freelance. Break glass in case of emergency.
Is that right?
Should Tampa Bay Lightning fans accept this apology?
This is crazy. The best regular season team in hockey not only just lost very quickly, as quickly as you possibly can, to the worst team still in the playoff. So, of course, they should apologize to everybody involved because this is a historic collapse. But look at what they do here. We do not have any words, and we know you don't want to hear them. We understand your anger, your frustration, your sadness, everything you're feeling. We get it. This isn't the ending we imagined, and certainly not the one we wanted. Thank you for being there the entire way. That was someone heartbroken writing that on behalf of all Tampa Bay fans and just apologizing on behalf of a group of people who, in Florida, have tried so hard to make hockey work. They have a place there where it finally works, and they get eliminated in the fastest way possible.
There's so many layers to this. Number one, if this happened in the NBA, everybody would be losing their mind. Imagine the Warriors got swept in the first round.
By the Pistons!
Exactly, right? But then the other thing is this really an apology? They never say sorry or we messed up. They dance around it really well, talking about we know we don't have any words and you don't want to hear them, right?
So here are some more words.
Yeah,
here's some more words you don't want to hear.
Everything about it is just avoiding actually talking about what happened and just really just throwing words out there.
Look, man, all you needed to do, poop emoji.
You know, they can tell people that they won the Stanley Cup. They won't know the difference.
In Florida, no one's paying attention in Florida. You won the Stanley Cup, you were gone quick. Who are you again? Who are you?
That's right.
Parade's on Tuesday.
Coming up next on